I caught my father Googling squatters' rights on my laptop last night. The blue light from the screen illuminated his face as he quickly closed the tab, pretending he was just checking the weather. But I saw it, and suddenly every little red flag from the past 3 months came crashing down like dominoes in my mind. I'm Zaylee, and I made the mistake of letting my parents move into my spare room. The same parents who borrowed my college fund when I was 17, who criticised every achievement I ever had, and who somehow still managed to make me feel guilty for having boundaries at 32. Just until we get back on our feet, Mum had said, clutching her designer purse, the one thing she refused to sell when they lost their house. We're not asking for much, just a little help from our daughter. The first week wasn't terrible. Mum cooked dinner, Dad fixed that squeaky bathroom door, and I actually believed we could make this work. Then the comments started. "Sweetie, don't you think that shirt is a bit revealing for work?" Mum's voice dripped with fake concern over morning coffee. "Your generation wastes so much money on fancy coffee makers," Dad muttered, eyeing my espresso machine. "In our day, we just made do. I found my furniture rearranged one day after work." "The feng shui was all wrong," Mum explained, not meeting my eyes. My carefully curated living room now looked like a garage sale threw up in it. "Did you really need to slam the door?" Dad called out when I came home late from drinks with Kennedy. I hadn't slammed anything. I'd barely breathed coming in. Last week I overheard Mom on the phone with my sister Mallory. "She's so cold lately." After everything we've done for her, everything they'd done for me, I wanted to laugh. Or scream. Maybe both. "You need to set boundaries," Kennedy told me over wine last Friday. Her son Harley was playing video games in the background, and I envied the normal, loving relationship they had. "I tried," I said, swirling the red wine in my glass. "They act like I'm being unreasonable when I ask them not to smoke in the house, in my house." "Your house," Kennedy emphasised, raising an eyebrow. "Remember that. But it doesn't feel like my house anymore. They've spread out like an invasive species, taking over every corner with their stuff, their rules, their criticism. The spare room wasn't enough. They've colonised my space, my peace, my sanity. Yesterday, I came home to find Mom had organised my kitchen cabinets. "You had everything in the wrong places," she said cheerfully. "I fixed it." I spent an hour putting everything back while she watched disapprovingly from the doorway. "You always were stubborn," she sighed, like I was still 12 and refusing to wear the frilly dresses she bought me. And now, watching Dad quickly close that browser tab about squatters' rights, I feel something shift inside me. The guilt that's been weighing me down starts crystallising into something harder, colder. My phone buzzes. A text from Mom to our family group chat. "Zaylee's being so generous letting us stay here. Though it would be nice if she spent more time with us instead of going out all the time. Family should come first." The passive-aggressive heart emoji might as well be a knife. I take a deep breath and open my laptop after Dad leaves the room. The browser history is cleared, but I'm not crazy. I know what I saw. They're not planning to leave. They never were. Kennedy's words echo in my head. "Your house! Remember that! My house, my rules, my life." I grab my phone and start recording. Mum's voice carries from the kitchen. "Jack, did you look up those tenant rights like I asked? We need to know our options." I hit stop and save the file. If they want to play this game, fine. But they're about to learn that their perfect, compliant daughter has learned a few tricks of her own. The spare room was meant to be an act of kindness. Instead, it's become a battleground. And for the first time in my life, I'm ready to fight back. I just have to be smarter about it than they are. "House rules are simple," I announced at breakfast, sliding a printed sheet across the table. "No smoking inside, quiet hours after 10, and please let me know about overnight guests." Mum's coffee cup clinked against her saucer. "Rules? We're your parents, Zaylee, not teenagers at summer camp." "My house, my rules," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "I think they're reasonable." Dad didn't even look up from his newspaper. "When you lived under our roof—" "I was a child then," I cut in. "And this is my roof." Mom's lips tightened into that familiar line of disapproval. "Speaking of your roof, I invited your Aunt Nancy over for dinner tomorrow night. Without asking me first. I didn't realise I needed permission to have family over," she sniffed, pulling out her phone. Her fingers flew across the screen, no doubt updating the family group chat about her ungrateful daughter. Sure enough, my phone buzzed minutes later. I opened it to find Mum's message. Feeling so blessed to be with Zaylee, even if she's implementing house rules now. Guess parents aren't allowed to be parents anymore. The responses flooded in. That's so sad, Heidi. Kids these days. You raised her better than that, my sister Mallory called almost immediately. Why are you being so controlling? She demanded. They're just old school, Zay. Let them be. They Googled squatters' rights, Mal. They're not planning to leave. You're being paranoid. They're our parents. Remember my college fund? The words slipped out before I could stop them. The one they borrowed and never replaced? Silence crackled over the line. That was different, Mallory finally said. They needed it for Dad's business venture, which failed, like all his ventures, and now they're here, in my house, acting like they own it. At least you have a house, Mallory snapped. Some of us are still renting. The conversation ended there, but the tension in my house kept building. That evening, I came home to find cigarette butts in a potted plant on my back porch. When I confronted Mum, she blinked innocently. Oh, was the porch included in your no-smoking rule? The next morning, I woke to voices in my kitchen at 5 a.m. Dad had invited his friend Roger over for coffee. The early bird gets the worm, he called out when I appeared in my pyjamas, looking confused. Remember when you used to have sleepovers without asking? Mum chimed in. We never made a fuss. I was 12 then. This was different. Everything was different. Later that week, my neighbour Finn texted me, Hey, everything okay? Your mum was telling me about how you're threatening to kick them out. My stomach dropped. I called him immediately. What exactly did she say? That you've changed since getting successful? That you're abandoning family values? Look, I know it's none of my business, but you're right, I cut in. It's not. I hung up and sank onto my couch, only to jump up when I sat on something hard. They'd rearranged my living room. Again. That night, I found myself digging through old boxes in my closet until I found it, my high school diary. I flipped to the entry from the day I discovered my college fund was gone. Mum says it's selfish to be upset about the money when Dad needed it more. Maybe she's right. Maybe I am selfish. But I worked every weekend for 3 years to add to that account. They didn't even ask. A knock at my door made me slam the diary shut. Honey, Mum's voice. We need to talk about your attitude lately. The family is worried about you. I stayed silent until her footsteps retreated. Then I took out my phone and started recording again. Every conversation, every manipulation, every guilt trip, I document it all. My phone buzzed with a text from Kennedy. Coming over, bringing wine. You need to hear what your sister's been saying about you. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. The spare room was supposed to be temporary, but now I realised it was never about the room. It was about control. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't going to give it to them. Let them play their games. I'd play mine better. Keep smiling, Kennedy advised, watching me set up the new security cameras. Let them think they're winning while you build your case. I nodded, positioning the tiny camera to face the living room. I've already got 30 recordings of Mum's private phone calls about what a horrible daughter I am. Good. And the voice-activated assistant? Catching everything? I smiled grimly. Including Dad's late-night conversations about tenant laws. Kennedy pulled out her phone, showing me a series of screenshots. Your sister's been busy. Look what she's posting in the family Facebook group. My stomach churned as I read Mallory's post. So sad watching my sister change. Money really does corrupt people. Mum and Dad gave everything for us, and now she treats them like burdens. The comments are worse, Kennedy warned, but I was already scrolling. Remember when Zaylee was sweet? Money changes people. Poor Heidi and Jack, after all they sacrificed. I set the phone down, hands shaking. They have no idea what really happened. So tell them, Kennedy said. But do it smart. Do it with proof. That evening, I played the perfect daughter, made dinner, laughed at Dad's jokes, didn't flinch when Mum accidentally spilled wine on my favourite rug. Such a shame, she sighed, blotting ineffectively. I told you beige was impractical. I just smiled and cleaned it up. The camera caught her satisfied smirk when she thought I wasn't looking. Later, while they were watching TV, I noticed an envelope peeking out from under their door. I shouldn't have looked, but after everything, my hands trembled as I read the documents inside. Eviction notices, credit card statements, court summons. They hadn't lost their house because of bad luck or market changes like they claimed. They'd been running a scheme, taking loans, not paying, moving before consequences hit. And now they were doing it to me. Looking for something, I whirled around. Dad stood in the doorway, face unreadable. "Just tidying up," I said, sliding the envelope back. "You know me, neat freak." He nodded slowly. "Your mother worries about you, you know. All alone in this big house. No husband, no kids." "I'm not alone," I said. "I have friends, a career." "Family is different," he cut in. "Family is forever." That night, I couldn't sleep. Their voices drifted through the walls. "She'll get over it eventually," Mom was saying. "She always does. Remember the college fund? All that drama, and now she never mentions it." Dad's laugh. "We finally have a secure place. And if she tries anything, well, we know our rights now." I grabbed my phone, hands shaking as I pressed record. Their voices continued, clear as day. "Mallory's been so helpful," Mom said. "Finding those tenant protection laws, spreading our side of the story. Our little girl always was the smart one," Dad agreed. I texted Kennedy. "Found proof. They're never planning to leave." Her response came quickly. "Time to play hardball. I'm calling my lawyer friend tomorrow." A new message popped up from my cousin Raylin, who distanced herself from the family years ago. "Hey, heard what's happening? Been there. Want to grab coffee?" Before I could respond, another text came through from Mallory. "Mum's crying because of you. Again, hope you're happy." I switched off my phone and sat in the dark, listening to my parents laugh about their perfect plan. The daughter they'd manipulated for years was finally giving them everything they wanted. Except this time, I wasn't that daughter anymore. I opened my laptop and started organising the evidence. Recordings, screenshots, photos of documents, witness statements from neighbours. Every manipulation, every lie, every scheme. All of it carefully catalogued and backed up. They thought they were playing chess, but they didn't realise I'd stopped playing games altogether. A notification popped up on my phone. Mum had added another passive-aggressive post to the family group. "So blessed to have one daughter who understands family values. The other, well, prayers appreciated." I saved the screenshot with the others, let them think they were winning, let them get comfortable, let them laugh. Because soon, very soon, I'd show them exactly what their sweet, compliant daughter had learned from their years of manipulation. And this time, I had receipts. "Aunt Nancy's 40th anniversary party is next month," Raylin said, stirring her coffee. "Everyone will be there. And I mean everyone." We sat in a quiet corner of the cafe, away from prying eyes. It was the first time I'd seen my cousin in years, but she hadn't changed. Still direct, still fearless. "I heard about what they're doing," she continued. "It's the same playbook they used with my mom before I helped her break free." A plan started forming in my mind. "The anniversary party would be perfect. All their flying monkeys in one place. With nowhere to run," Raylin finished, a knowing smile on her face. "Need backup?" Before I could answer, my phone buzzed. Dad's text. "Door's locked. Key's not working. Come home now." "He changed the locks," I said, showing Raylin. "On my house." She grabbed her keys. "I'm driving." When we arrived, Dad was playing innocent. "Must be a problem with the key. Good thing you came home early." I held up my key. It worked perfectly. The lock hadn't been changed. He just wanted to prove he could make me come running. "Oh, look who it is!" Mum appeared, eyeing Raylin. "The prodigal niece returns, here to cause more family drama?" "Actually," Raylin smiled sweetly, "I'm here for Aunt Nancy's anniversary party. Can't wait to catch up with everyone." Mum's face tightened. "Well, isn't that lovely? Zaylee, dear, why don't you help me with dinner? Family only." "Raylin is family," I said firmly. "She's staying." Later that night, after Raylin left, I found my bedroom door slightly ajar. I always kept it locked. Always. My journal had moved, just slightly, but I noticed. Someone had been reading it. My phone buzzed with a group text from Aunt Nancy. 40 years of love! Celebrating next month at the Grand Hotel. Everyone's coming. No gifts, just your presence. The responses flooded in. Wouldn't miss it. Such an inspiration. Family is everything. Mum appeared in my doorway. We'll need to coordinate outfits, of course. Can't have you showing up in one of your creative ensembles. I'll wear what I want, I said, noticing how she lingered, eyes scanning my room. Don't be difficult, she sighed. The whole family will be watching. Exactly, I thought. The next morning, I met Kennedy for coffee. They went through my room, I told her, read my journal. Perfect, she said, pulling out her laptop. Add it to the evidence file. How many people will be at this anniversary party? At least 50. All the aunts, uncles, cousins. All the people they've been lying to about you. I nodded, remembering Raylin's words, nowhere to run. Your parents aren't the only ones who can plan ahead, Kennedy said, typing. Let's make a timeline. The party's 4 weeks away. We need everything ready. My phone buzzed. Finn from next door. Your mom's telling people you're having mental health issues. Thought you should know. Another text from Mallory. Mom's worried about your behaviour. Maybe you should see someone. Then Mom herself. Sweetie, I scheduled you a therapy appointment. We're all concerned. I forwarded everything to Kennedy, who added it to our growing file. They're getting sloppy, she observed. Desperate. That evening, I heard Mom on the phone through the security camera. Nancy, I'm worried about Zaylee. She's been so unstable lately. Having that troublemaker Raylin over. Yes, that Raylin. The one who turned my sister against us. I hit record, catching every word. Dad joined her. Maybe we should say something at the party. Get the family to help us intervene. Perfect, Mum replied. Everyone will be there. We can show them how worried we are. I smiled in the darkness of my room. Yes, everyone would be there. Everyone would see. My phone lit up with a text from Raylin. Got your back. Ready when you are. Another from Kennedy. Evidence file backed up. Triple checked. And finally, Finn. Whatever you're planning, count me in. Nobody deserves what they're doing to you. I looked at my bedroom door, still slightly ajar from their snooping, and made a decision. Let them think they're winning. Let them plan their big intervention. They wanted to put on a show at Aunt Nancy's anniversary party. Fine. But this time, I'd be the one directing it. I found these in Mallory's email, Kennedy said, sliding her laptop across the table. Your sister's been busy. My hands shook as I read the emails. Mallory had been researching elder abuse laws, tenant rights, even mental health intervention procedures, all while pretending to support me. There's more, Kennedy warned. Keep scrolling. Draft messages to family members, carefully crafted stories about my unstable behaviour, links to articles about ungrateful children. And worst of all, a detailed plan to use the anniversary party as an intervention. Your own sister, Kennedy said softly. My phone buzzed. Speak of the devil. We need to talk, Mallory's text read. Now. I met her at the local diner, our childhood hangout. She was already there, fingers drumming nervously on the table. You need to stop, she said before I could sit down. This vendetta against Mom and Dad, it needs to end. Vendetta? I laughed. They're trying to steal my house. They're our parents, she hissed. They raised us, sacrificed for us. Is that what you tell yourself to justify helping them? I pulled out my phone, showing her the screenshots of her emails. Planning an intervention, Mal? Really? Her face went white. How did you... Doesn't matter. What matters is you're helping them destroy me. If you embarrass them at the anniversary party, she leaned forward, voice low and threatening, we all walk away from you. Forever. You already have, I said, standing up. You just didn't have the courage to tell me to my face. Back home, I found Raylin waiting on my porch. Mallory texted me, she said. Tried to get me to join their little intervention plan. And? She grinned. I said I'd love to speak at the party, didn't specify what about. Inside, Mum was redecorating again. Oh good, you're home, she chirped. Help me move this cabinet, it's blocking the energy flow. No, I said simply. Her face darkened. I'm trying to help you. This house needs a woman's touch. It has one. Mine. You ungrateful. She caught herself, plastering on a smile as Dad walked in. Sweetie, we're just worried about you. All this hostility. Save it for the party, I said, heading to my room. "What's that supposed to mean?" Dad called after me. I didn't answer. Let them worry. Kennedy came over that night with her son Harley. We sat on the back porch, watching him play while my parents glared through the window. "Everything's ready," she said quietly. "Audio files, screenshots, witness statements. Even got that eviction notice they tried to hide." "Finn agreed to be there," I added. "Says he's got security camera footage of Mum telling neighbours I'm mentally unstable." "Good." Kennedy hugged me. "You're doing the right thing." Later, Mallory called again. "Last chances, eh? Drop this or lose everyone." "Funny," I replied. "I thought I already had." "Mum's crying because of you." "Mum's crying because her manipulation isn't working anymore." Silence then. "You've changed." "Yeah," I agreed. "Finally." That night, I heard them in the spare room, planning. Mum's voice carried through my security system. "Everyone's on our side. Even that troublemaker Raylan agreed to speak." "She did?" Dad sounded surprised. "Of course. No one can resist my persuasion. And once everyone sees how unstable Zaylee's become..." I sent the recording to Raylan, who responded with a laughing emoji and, "They have no idea." My phone lit up with messages. Kennedy, "Files backed up and ready." Finn, "Got the video evidence secured." Raylan, "Speech written. They'll never see it coming." And finally Mallory again, "I'm warning you one last time. Back down." I looked at my wall calendar. 2 days until the anniversary party. 2 days until everything changed. Mum knocked on my door. "Sweetie, we need to coordinate what we're wearing. The photographer will want family photos." "Can't wait," I called back, smiling as I added her words to my evidence file. They wanted photos? Fine, but not the kind they were expecting. Sometimes the best revenge isn't loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's just the quiet reveal of truth, backed by undeniable evidence, in front of everyone who matters. And in 2 days, they'd learn exactly how much evidence I had. "Emergency family, Zoom, meeting, now!" Mum's text blasted through the family group chat at 7 p.m, just as I was finishing dinner with Kennedy. "Showtime," Kennedy whispered, helping me set up my laptop. Faces popped up one by one, aunts, uncles, cousins. Mum's eyes were red and puffy, perfectly timed tears ready to fall. "It's about Zaylee," she choked out. We're afraid she might make us homeless." The gasps were immediate, right on cue. "After everything we've done for her," Dad added solemnly. "We're not getting any younger." I kept my face neutral, letting my phone record every word. Aunt Nancy's voice crackled through the speakers. "Zaylee, how could you?" "I'm right here," I said calmly. "And that's not what's happening." "See," Mom wailed. "She's so cold now. Money changed her. Success changed her." Mallory jumped in. "She's been acting strange for months. We're all worried." I watched the performance unfold, noting how Mom's tears dried up the moment she thought her camera froze. How Dad's concerned expression slipped when he thought no one was watching. After the call, I sent the recording to my lawyer. Her response was immediate. Perfect evidence of harassment and defamation. Keep collecting. The next morning, Mom cornered me in the kitchen. "About yesterday's call..." "Save it," I said, pouring my coffee. "We're just worried about you, sweetie. Everyone is. Maybe if you'd just let us help manage your finances." I nearly dropped my mug. "Manage my finances?" "Well, you're clearly struggling with the responsibility of home ownership. Your father and I have experience, like they had experience with my college fund." My phone buzzed. "Raylin." "They just called me, trying to get dirt on you. I played along. You should hear what they're planning." Mum was still talking. "And really, dear, it's not healthy to live alone at your age. Having us here is a blessing in disguise." I let her ramble, recording every word. That afternoon, Dad accidentally locked me out again. I called Finn, who came over with his spare key, the one I'd given him for emergencies. "Your mum told the neighbourhood watch you're having mental episodes," he said quietly, as we waited for the door to open. I set them straight. Inside, I found my laptop moved again. They'd been snooping, but I was ready. Every important file was encrypted and backed up. Kennedy called later. "Your sister's been busy. Look at her latest Facebook post." The post was long, detailed, and completely fabricated. Stories about my concerning behaviour, my rejection of family values, my spiral into selfishness. The comments poured in. We're here for you, Mallory. Some people forget where they came from. Praying for your parents. I forwarded everything to my lawyer, who replied, Perfect. Keep your cool. We're almost there. That night, I heard Mom on the phone through my security camera. Yes, Nancy. We've got everyone prepared for tomorrow. Once they all see how she's treating us. Dad's voice joined in. The intervention will be for her own good. We can't let her throw away everything she's worked for. I sent the recording to Raylin, who texted back, They think they're so clever. Tomorrow's going to be wild. Mum knocked on my door then, all sugary sweetness. Darling, what are you wearing to the party? We should coordinate. Don't worry, I said. I've got everything planned. Oh, good, Imogen. Her relief was palpable. You know we only want what's best for you. Everything we do is out of love. I smiled, thinking of the evidence folder on my phone, the backup drives at Kennedy's house, the witnesses ready to speak up. I know exactly what you do out of love, Mom. She missed my sarcasm completely. That's my girl. Get some sleep. Tomorrow's a big day. She had no idea how big. My phone lit up one last time. Mallory. Last chance to back down. Once this happens, there's no going back. I looked at my wall of photos, at the happy family moments that were all carefully staged, at the smiling faces hiding years of manipulation. You're right, I texted back. No going back. Tomorrow, they'd try to stage an intervention in front of the whole family. They'd cry their crocodile tears, tell their practiced lies, play their familiar roles. But this time, I had the real script. And every single receipt to back it up. Let them think tonight was their last victory. Tomorrow would be mine. The Grand Hotel's ballroom sparkled with 40 years of anniversary celebrations. Aunt Nancy and Uncle Pete beamed as family members arrived, completely unaware of the storm about to break. You look beautiful, sweetie, Mum said, adjusting my dress collar like I was still 5. Though I would have chosen something more appropriate. I caught Raylin's eye across the room. She nodded slightly, phone ready. The evening started normally enough. Dinner speeches, champagne toasts. Then Mum stood up, dabbing at her eyes with a tissue. Before we continue celebrating, she sniffled, we need to address something important. As a family. Right on cue, Dad joined her. We're worried about Zaylee. The room hushed. All eyes turned to me. She's changed, Mum continued, voice trembling perfectly. The success, the money. She's not the daughter we raised. She's threatening to make her own parents homeless. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Mallory stood up, right on script. We've all noticed the changes. I caught Kennedy's eye. She nodded, connecting her phone to the room's Bluetooth speaker system. You're right, I said, standing. Let's talk about changes and truth. I pressed play. Mum's voice filled the room. Once we're established here, she can't kick us out. We'll take over slowly. Worked with the college fund, didn't it? Dad's laughter followed. She always was easy to manipulate. Remember when she believed we'd pay her back? The colour drained from their faces as their own words continued playing. Every scheme, every manipulation, every cruel laugh, all captured in pristine audio. Turn that off! Mom shrieked. Why? I asked calmly. Isn't this what you wanted? Family involvement? Finn stood up. I have video of you telling neighbours your daughter is mentally unstable. Raylin joined in. I have the texts where you tried to turn me against her. Kennedy pulled out her laptop. And I have the emails proving you planned this whole intervention to gain control of her house. Mum turned to the crowd, desperate. She's twisting things where her parents who stole her college fund, Aunt Nancy said quietly. I remember. I believed your excuses. You don't understand, Dad started, but I cut him off. Show them the eviction notices, I said to Kennedy. Show them why they really lost their house. The evidence appeared on the hotel's presentation screen. Court documents, loan defaults, their systematic pattern of financial abuse. We gave you everything, Mum screamed, mask finally cracking. No, I corrected. You took everything, and then expected me to give you more. Mallory stood frozen, tears streaming down her face. I didn't know about the college fund. But you helped them plan this, I said. You chose their lies over my truth. Because they're our parents, she cried. They raised us. They used us, I corrected. And now everyone knows. Dad suddenly laughed, a harsh, ugly sound. You want to talk about truth? Let's talk about how we used your teenage savings for our cruise. That was our right as parents. The room went deadly silent. You're right. Aunt Nancy stood up. Get out, both of you, now. But, Mom started. Out! Nancy's voice cracked like a whip. And don't come to my house either. I'm done enabling this. As security approached, Mom turned to me one last time. We're your parents. You can't do this. Watch me, I said quietly. They were escorted out, Mom's wails echoing down the hallway. The perfect performance to the very end. Mallory approached me slowly. I'm so sorry, she whispered. I really thought I wanted to believe them. I know, I said. That's what they counted on. Raylan hugged me as family members came forward one by one, apologising for believing the lies, for not seeing the truth sooner. What happens now? Someone asked. I looked around at the faces, some ashamed, some supportive, all finally seeing clearly. Now, I said, I go home, to my house, alone. Kennedy raised her glass. To truth. To consequences, Raylan added. To freedom, I finished. The anniversary party continued, but something had shifted. Old lies had been exposed, old wounds finally allowed to heal. My phone buzzed one last time, a text from Mom. You'll regret this. Family is forever. I looked at my real family around me. Kennedy, Raylan, Finn, and even Mallory, tentatively finding her way back to truth. You're right, I whispered to myself. Family is forever. But I finally get to choose which family. The locksmith finished changing my locks as Kennedy helped me sage the house. Getting rid of bad energy, she explained, waving the smoking bundle in corners where my parents had lurked. Their stuff is still in the spare room, I said, eyeing the closed door. Raylan's bringing her truck, Kennedy replied. We'll drop it at their motel. My phone buzzed constantly with family fallout. Aunt Nancy had shared the full story with everyone, including the parts I'd kept private. The tide had turned completely. Look at this, Raylan said, arriving with coffee and her truck keys. She showed me her phone. Mum's social media accounts had gone dark. No more performance, no more audience. They're staying at the Budget Inn, Mallory texted. Dad's talking about moving to Florida. Good. Let them start fresh somewhere else. Someone else's problem now. We tackled the spare room together, boxing up their abandoned lives. Designer clothes, Dad's golf clubs, Mum's collection of self-help books about ungrateful children. Found this, Finn said, holding up a folder of papers. My college fund bank statements carefully preserved like keeping trophies of their conquest. Add it to the evidence box, I said. My lawyer was building quite a case. Halfway through packing, Kennedy's son Harley ran in. Aunt Zaylee, there's a weird lady taking pictures of the house. We rushed to the window. Mum stood on the sidewalk, phone raised, probably gathering evidence of her own. I got this, Finn said, walking outside. Mum, this is private property. Leave, or I call the police. That's my daughter's house, she shrieked. Not anymore, I called from the doorway. Never really was. She left, but not before screaming, I carried you for 9 months. And manipulated me for 32 years, I muttered, closing the door. The boxes filled up quickly. Raylan and Finn loaded them into her truck while Kennedy ordered pizza. It felt like exercising ghosts, each box taking weight off my shoulders. Mallory's asking if she can come over, Kennedy said, checking her phone. I hesitated. She's in therapy now, Raylan added. Actually doing the work. Tell her yes, I decided. But no drama. Mallory arrived as we finished cleaning. She looked smaller somehow, without Mom's influence shadowing her. I found this in their stuff, she said, holding out an envelope. Inside were photos. Me at graduation, first job, buying my house. All the moments they'd tried to diminish. They kept track of everything, she continued, planning how to use it all. Not anymore, I said firmly. We sat around my living room, arranged my way, eating pizza and sharing stories, healing stories, truth stories. Remember when Mum said your promotion was just luck? Mallory asked. Remember when Dad said your house was too big for one person? Raylan added. Remember when they said you'd fail without them? Kennedy finished. I looked around at my chosen family. Remember when we proved them wrong? My phone buzzed, a final text from Dad. Your mother's heartbroken. Hope you're satisfied. For the first time, those words didn't trigger guilt. I deleted the message without responding. What now? Mallory asked quietly. Now? I smiled. Now I live. In my house. My way. Raylan raised her pizza slice. To boundaries. To consequences, Kennedy added. To freedom, I finished. Later, after everyone left, I stood in the spare room, empty now, ready for new possibilities. Maybe a home office. Maybe a guest room for people who actually respected boundaries. The doorbell rang. A delivery, flowers from Aunt Nancy and Uncle Pete. The card read, proud of you for breaking the cycle. Love, your real family. I put the flowers on my coffee table, arranged exactly how I wanted them. My phone buzzed with messages from cousins, aunts, uncles, all choosing truth over performance, all ready to build something real. I gave them my spare room out of guilt. I took it back with truth. And what I built from the ashes, that was mine forever. Not because I was selfish, not because I was cruel, but because sometimes love means saying no. Sometimes family means choosing yourself. And sometimes the happiest ending isn't about revenge at all. It's about reclaiming your space, your story, your life, one empty room at a time. I looked around my quiet, peaceful house. No more manipulation, no more guilt, no more giving away pieces of myself to people who never intended to give anything back. Just me, my boundaries, and the family I chose. Finally, perfectly free.